Welcome everybody to another edition of Head to Head Sports. I am your host Brian Parker, along with my co-host Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Not good. Double loss Sunday. I hate it.
We will definitely get into that. You are right. It was a very, very strange week. Um,
Crazy.
I'm wondering if Halloween is coming early, but thank you everyone out there for tuning in to another episode. We are streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. If you are on YouTube, become a YouTube subscriber and make sure you go to Empower TV Network, where you can like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. If you're on Facebook, please share as well. If you're on LinkedIn, please share as well. We'd love to have more people join the discussion about their favorite NFL team. And are we already overreacting after 2 weeks of the NFL season? Has your team basically become fodder for the 2023 NFL draft? Is your coach already on the hot seat? Is your quarterback a bum? What all those kind of things we're going to talk about. So, Rand, I guess without further ado, we get we can jump right into Panthers Giants. As what I just call the I'm over it bowl. Back-to-back years, letting the New York Giants, a team that has definitely had their share of losses and just hard times, seem to pep up and brighten up a bit when Carolina comes to town, because now it almost seems to be a foregone conclusion that by hook or crook they're gonna win the game somehow.
Brother, I'm over it. You saw my post as soon as the game was done.
Yeah.
I've seen enough, man. I don't need to see anything else. Matt Rule is not the coach of the future for the Carolina Panthers. He's not even the coach for the next upcoming game. I don't do this often, but I hope they lose. I hope Carolina loses, because I want them to go 0-4 until he's up out of here, man. I don't know how you feel, but apparently he's got some evidence against the owner or something. I have no idea why we still hanging on to this Matt Rule fool.
To me, Rand, it's rich people think that, and I deal with this on a daily basis. So I'm kind of maybe venting a little bit about some of the rich folks that I have to deal with. Sometimes when people have money, they equate money to intelligence, to always making the right decisions. And a lot of times I think their pride and their ego gets in the way of them making a really good decision, where you don't want to be if you got rid of the coach, what you would basically be saying is, I screwed up and I made a decision.
You're right.
I made a bad decision. And I think for a lot of these folks that make this money and feel like they're always the smartest person in the room, having to sit there and swallow that much. Paul is watching. Hey, Paul, how you doing, buddy? I think a lot of times it's hard for them to then be able to say I screwed up, because I think he paid Matt Rule, or he gave him a $60 million contract.
He gave Matt Rule a 7-year deal for a head coach that's never had any NFL experience. And I just don't understand some of the moves. What's up, Copeland? I just don't understand some of the moves that that this organization makes sometimes. Even with going out to get Sam Darnold, I really don't fault them too bad for that. I could understand maybe they felt like he needed a fresh start. But why are you going to give this dude the 5th-year option? And he's done nothing. He didn't play a single down before you decide to pick up that 5th year. Why?
Right. Here's my thing. I agree with you on that, because you were almost acting as if, and far be it from me to go to look at my crystal ball, but you were acting as if he did ball out just a little bit, that he would have so many suitors at the end of the year that you wouldn't be at least in the mix to retain his services. Yeah. That if we didn't jump on this right now. So again, I'm going to tell you why they probably did it. They probably thought, if we go ahead and pick it up, that'll at least let him know that we're committed to him.
And there you go.
Maybe from a psychological standpoint, it would make him feel like you're not just playing for your dinner. I'm sorry. Unless you go get a quarterback that is proven, they should always know that they're playing for their dinner.
Brian, they called this
always
man.
know that you one snap away, you one play away, you one series away from holding a clipboard and wearing a baseball cap.
That's right. This is the NFL. They're all professionals. They coddled the hell out of Sam Darnold. Oh, we're going to go ahead and give you this option and let you know you got security here. Even with the whole Baker Mayfield situation when Baker came aboard. Oh, no, we're just not going to hand the battle over to, the starting job over to Baker. We're going to have a quarterback battle. Regardless of how terrible Darnold was last year.
Rand, I don't think there's anybody within the confines of Mecklenburg County that thought that when they sat there and went and got Baker, that Baker wasn't going to be the starter of week 1.
I'm telling you, but this is how they screwed themselves.
Whatever messaging they wanted to throw out there, there is nobody in their right mind that did
nobody.
Not
we see it here, sitting here on this daggone show in the water cooler, but he can't see it. Look, man, but this is how they go and screw themselves, right? They already get Baker very late in the process, so he misses OTAs.
Yeah.
So now, instead of giving him the keys so he could have as much time with the first team all summer long for the rest of camp and preseason, no, we're going to have a quarterback battle, quarterback competition. So now Baker can't even get with the first unit and have primary responsibility with them. He's got to bounce back and forth between the first and second unit. Share time with the starters with Sam Darnold. When I knew all along that Baker was going to be the starting quarterback, just give the keys to the man. He's already in his OTAs. He needs the time.
That's them saving face, Rand.
Saving face. But now you're looking at an old because of it.
Well, and again, they didn't want to admit that Sam was a failure. So what they preferred to do was put it under the guise that we didn't take it away from Sam. Baker outplayed him, and he took it away from Sam.
We just do it anyway.
Yeah, we just brought Baker in to make it a competition, but instead of it making it look like we made a bad decision in getting Sam in the first place, we're just going to bring somebody in to give him some competition. And if, he beats him out in training camp, then the best man won. When you already knew by design that bringing what other team has had 2 first-round picks from the same draft end up on the same damn team, battling it out, and you can't barely tell one from the other because it could have easily been Darnold in there on Sunday, and it would have been the same result.
It could have been a worse result. Darnold is the worst quarterback I have seen in the last 2 to 3 seasons. It would have been a worse result.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw a little bit of what I wanted to see in week 1 and week 2 with Baker, but there was still one part of his game that I just did not see. Again, Baker is not going to grow anymore. He's a short quarterback, and he's going to continue to be a short quarterback as long as he's a quarterback. But they rolled him out a lot more to the right side, and he was able to throw on the run. And I actually saw him take off and run a little bit, which is something that I could not understand in week 1, why he simply just did not try to run, at least if he wasn't going to get the first down, make it a more easier second or third down after the yardage that he got. He could just scoot out of bounds, or he could slide. Now, I think when he did the slide in the Giants game, he had a little bit more real estate before he could have had to give up his body. But whether that's here or there, the one thing that I don't see with Baker, and my brother was over and we were watching the game, and I was telling him about it. I said, watch when Baker takes a snap. He takes 3 steps back, and they're already in the backfield coming for him. So I'll get to Quano in a second because he's getting exposed. But when you've got a rookie left tackle that's getting these guys that have been in the league for a long time, and if the offensive coordinator has decided he's not going to help him with running like a 21 personnel where you've got 2 tight ends on the field at the same time, so you could have a Trimble and Ian Thomas out there and use them to pass, block, and then catch after they chip. If you're not going to do that, you can't have your quarterback back there like a pinata. Like I said the first week, why not have him? Does he not know how to climb the pocket? Or does he not trust that the pocket is going to stay open long enough for him to climb it? Because there's plenty of times when the middle is open, if he climbs the pocket, ran, he then has a clearer path to throw the ball, or he has at least 5 to 7 yards in front of him to take off. If he consistently does that, it'll freeze them on the outside from over rushing, because what happens when you climb the pocket is, if you climb the pocket, then the defensive ends that are trying to rush you are coming to the spot you used to be at, but now you're further in front of them. You're still behind the line of scrimmage, but you're further than they were. So now they have to try to recover and come back upfield. But by then, if you found your target or you've taken off the run, you've nullified them. He doesn't climb the pocket. So what happens is he takes 3 steps. He's that much further in the backfield, and then they flood him out, but he's still behind the backfield. He's running for his life, still trying to look downfield to throw the ball. Why don't you climb the pocket at sometimes? Does McAdoo not teach these guys how to climb a pocket?
There's just a lot of problems with this offense. First of all, Mayfield is actually not that short of a quarterback. He's 6'1". So there's a lot, surprisingly 6'1". You know, by the amount of balls that have been batted down by this dude, you would think he was like 5'9", 5'10", but
right.
He's 6'1". So I don't know what that issue is with getting so many batted balls down. I think the offensive linemen have to do a better job of sticking to their guys, kicking some dudes, limiting those jumps, something. But they are getting beat
when
around
they're getting that much, when they're getting that much of a push, that means that they're that much closer to the quarterback. So you're right. There needs to be a little bit more. There needs to be a little bit more interior lineman push, because they're getting pushed back into the quarterback. So when those linemen reach forward and put their hands at an angle, they're basically where the offensive linemen started. They've gotten that much pressure by the time they throw their hands up. That's true.
And on top of that, they're being beat so bad around the edges that they can't just push the guys around, and the guys have to take a long way to the cornerback. The quarterback. They're being beat so badly with the edge rushing that it's a direct path to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's one breakdown. There's another breakdown in the personnel. We got Higgins out of Cleveland as well.
Yeah.
The wide receiver who
he's familiar with.
Yeah, he has the most familiarity with, but he hadn't seen the field. What is up with that? We also got DeAndre to back up McCaffrey. He gets 2 carries? I think he got 2 carries for 9 yards.
Yeah.
He's got to see the field more. So this offensive coordinator is making some errors. The offensive line is making some errors. It's just a complete breakdown.
It is
right now.
Paul, I agree with you. Paul says he plays a lot shorter than 6'1".
He does. There's something going on there. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's his sidearm delivery. I saw a lot of sidearm. So maybe that is the issue. But something's got to be fixed to where he has a clear path. Now, he only had 2 batted balls this last game, which is a whole lot better than what we saw week 1.
Totally.
But still, that's something that needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah, but I saw a lot more play action this week. I saw a lot more play action freezes the defense, because they have to at least once they start to see that you are actually going this week to give Christian McCaffrey the ball. Now play action becomes an element of the game that you can use, because they have to make sure that you didn't hand that ball off to them. So it takes them a second to they have to find the ball. Who has the ball? Does the quarterback still have the ball? Does the running back have the ball? They also did another thing that they need to do more of.
They need to do more of it. That's the key. They need to do more of it.
Right, more play action. They put McCaffrey in different situations. They didn't just line him up. A lot of times they put him in the slot as a receiver, and he actually made defenses pay being in the slot. You got to move your best guy around. Think about how Dallas on the defensive side moves Micah Parsons around, and he's allowed to wreak havoc because of that. when
Yeah.
they moved Jeremy Chin around the first couple of years like that for the Panthers on the defense. He wreaked havoc like that. You kept hearing Chin's name, forced fumbles, sacks, this, that, and that, because they just did not, they had to always account for this guy, but he wasn't always in the same place.
Yeah.
Make your offense more robust and not so vanilla where they can basically just pin their ears back. Anytime that they can just get 4 to come home and they don't have to bring a safety up or anybody like, now they did bring a couple safety blitzes. I did see that where they basically said, okay, we see that he's going to roll to the right. So we're going to actually bring a safety blitz to come up on that side. And nobody picked up the protection. Again, when you're a shorter quarterback, you got to be able, when you step up, Rand, I believe, you got to be able to survey the field. Whatever the play call is, I get that. But how many times do you hear other teams kill, 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 kill? That play is not going to work. I'm about to audible out of that play. Kill, kill, kill.
Yeah.
When you hear that, guys, if you don't know what that means, when you hear kill, kill, whatever play that quarterback had gotten the first couple of seconds when he could hear in his helmet, he's letting everybody know, hey, that play we just talked about in the huddle,
And there you go.
based on what I'm seeing, we're not running.
That goes back to the point that I was making earlier, though. Had he been there and had a full training camp and a full preseason with the first team, he would know the playbook a lot better than he knows it, and he'd be able to do stuff like that. Right now,
Correct.
he's still learning the playbook, and we're heading into week 3. That's a
That's a great
coach's
point.
fault. That's a
That's a great
coaching
point.
fault. Yeah.
Well, maybe they should have put some kind of 4-hour study time in his contract. And Paul said, I don't know, Paul. Paul says that C-Mac lost a step in the last couple of years as the injury slowed him down. Dude doesn't look like I remember.
That dude is just as explosive
Yeah, I kind of
ever.
think he is too. If you're asking me, is he protecting himself a little bit better? Yeah, I think so. I think he ran into a lot of more collisions than he necessarily had to, but he doesn't run away from them. He's just as good running into a bunch of guys as he is trying to run on the outsides and everything. I think his team is just bad. I think it's just a product of being on a bad team. I think if he had the Bills line in front of him, he'd run through every A gap out there.
Where the touches? He hadn't had 15
yeah.
touches. He didn't get 15 game 1, didn't get 15 game 2.
And that's the other problem.
Best weapon
You're expecting him to be explosive on fewer plays. You got to remember, the thing about McCaffrey is it's like a boxer. Those hits in the first round, the second round, the third round don't really seem like they're doing that much. But when you get into the later parts of a match, then body blows start to add up. And McCaffrey is the guy that gets stronger as the game goes on. But what happens is that they started getting away from him. And I'm glad that he's trying to find other guys. Don't get me wrong. But you still got to stay true to who you are, or at least have the threat of McCaffrey out there and use a lot of RPOs off of him, do other kind of design plays. I don't care if you run a few reverses, not to be too cute, but put him in different places where he can be successful. McCaffrey is a guy that if you give him the ball in space, he's really good at making the first guy miss. That's his gift. And if he can make that first guy miss, he is off to the races. Now, he did look like on one play where he took off, they caught him, and I was surprised that they were able to catch him. He shot out I was like, oh, he gone. And they actually caught up with him. And I was a little surprised by that. But hey, he ain't the fastest guy, but when he get to moving, he can go. So I was a little bit surprised by that.
It happens. I mean,
yeah, it does.
Depends on whatever the angle was or whatever. But I think he's just explosive as ever, but he's just not getting the touches. You give him more touches, I mean, sooner or later he's going to break one. That's just who he is. But the thing is, you can't limit a guy from as many touches as he had last year all the way down to the fewest touches he's ever had in his whole career. It'd be just as crazy as the Titans saying, "Oh well, we're overworking Derrick Henry. Let's give him 8 carries a game." It'd be
Yeah,
ridiculous for them to do that because he's their best weapon. So,
exactly.
but
Yeah,
again, it starts with the coaching. It starts with the coaching. I'm sick of this dude sitting up here looking clueless every week. I'm sick of hearing the "oh, we're getting close." I'm sick of hearing all of this crap, man. It's
yeah.
time for Rule to get up out of here.
It is. And now just check this out though, too, Rand. Total yards. The Panthers had. I ain't. I don't think I've ever heard this. 275 total yards in the game. Out of that 275, only 129 was passing. The Giants didn't do much better. They only passed for 162. The Panthers actually had 10 yards more than the Giants.
It's an ugly game. You got
So what made the game as close as it was the early fumbles in the game. Chuba fumbled and somebody else fumbled early. But to the defense's credit, it only turned into 6 points off those 2 turnovers. The defense held. They did as much as they could do. But when you have an offense that is just feckless like this, now they rushed for 146 yards. So they were a bit more effective on the ground. The Giants only rushed for 103. So if you look at some of the other stats, the Panthers had 5.1 yards per play, which is crazy. The Giants had 3.8, which is even worse. When you look at some of these stats, you would look at it, if you read some of these line items off, you'd be like, okay, the Panthers won by 10 points, right?
Turnovers.
They lost by 3.
Turnovers.
The turnovers ended up killing. When a game is that ugly and that close, those 2 turnovers did them in. It killed drives before they started. It did put some points on the board, even though it wasn't 7, it was 3. So the Giants didn't take good advantage of that. Here's the other thing that eventually killed them too. Time of possession was the biggest thing. 24 minutes for the Panthers, 35 minutes for the Giants. Once they did get a lead on you, they were just able to basically stay on the field, continuing drives and stuff like that. Getting a lot of times you'd sack them for a loss, and then Daniel Jones would turn in a 3rd and 14 into a 1st and 10 and stuff like that. So opportunities where I could see the defense close in on Daniel Jones, and right before they could get to him, he got the ball off. And that extra second let somebody get free enough where he was able to get the ball downfield. So you can't keep asking your defense to bail you out of holes. At some point, you got to be able to keep your offense out there to put more pressure on their offense. And we just
by the New York Giants 2 years in
a row. And this and listen, this team is fighting for 3rd in the NFC least.
Exactly. You got beat by Daniel Jones twice now. Inexcusable.
Bro.
Matt Rule, 10 and 25.
You know, Matt Rule got rid of Joe Judge. What's his name? Wasn't Joe Judge. Joe Judge is
Joe Brady.
Joe Brady. Basically, symbolically, after the last one. I say he gets rid of himself after this one. Even if he ain't all of the problem, fish right from the head, Matt. Time to go, bro.
It's time to go, man.
Time to go. I ain't saying it's all you, but you got a lot to do with it, bro.
You got a lot to do with
it. A whole lot to do with it, bro. Well, let's talk about your Steelers. Man, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I ain't see this one coming. I thought the Steelers were gonna, even without TJ, I felt like after what I saw the Steelers do to Cincinnati and Joe Burrow.
Paul says it's all him.
Paul, I'm inclined to believe trying to be diplomatic, but you might be right. But while we're feeling bad and we're in our misery, your Steelers, man, Mac Jones almost looked like a decent quarterback.
Listen, dude, when you lose a TJ Watt, right? And I've talked about this last year on the show as well. Yeah. Sometimes, especially with TJ, he's just as impactful as a quarterback. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Like, we go back to the Cincinnati win. A lot of those sacks and strip sacks shortened the field and gave us points, the same as a quarterback would do for his team.
Right. Right.
So we didn't have a single sack. I think we had 2 pressures that entire game. So the loss of TJ Watt is being felt immediately. Immediately. And a close game like that, we lost what, 17-14?
Mm-hmm.
Those sacks, those deflections, those knockdown passes, those pressures, they add up when they're not there anymore. We got another 5 to 6 weeks to do without this dude. And hopefully it won't be another 5 to 6 weeks with Trubisky. But if it is, we're going to be in a little trouble. We're going to be in a little trouble.
You're going to be in a lot of trouble if you're dependent on his arm to win games for you. When you have a quarterback like Trubisky, he's one of those quarterbacks where you just need him to make 3 to 4 exceptional plays in a game. And what I mean by that is of course you need him to be out there and be serviceable for every play. But whether it's right handoffs, whether it's, just a couple of check downs here or there, those are standard plays that you need a guy to be able to just do. Just a guy, a jag could just come out there and do that. There's 3 to 4 plays a game when he can't just be a jag. He's got to be a top tier quarterback. He has to show those flashes. Even if it's small ones, you go, okay, that's why we got him. It reminds me of, I used to love hearing Whitney Houston sing. And some people would sit there and I go to karaoke and people would try to sing a Whitney Houston song. And I'd be like, oh my God, you're going to be able to start out right. But there's certain notes that only Whitney going to hit. And when you try to hit them notes, you're going to realize why Whitney sung that song and your ass shouldn't have. When you get to them notes, you gonna realize, because during the whole song, you're like, oh man, okay, I'm doing something that Whitney did. But then when they get to that note, and you know that note coming, and you preparing your body because you sitting there thinking, I can hear it in my head. I wonder if it's gonna come out like that. And it don't. That's when you know that's why Whitney was extraordinary. Everything else may have been regular, but it's that one note that you need her to hit because can't nobody else hit it. Trubisky needs to be able to hit some of them throws at certain times when the team would need it most and be able to do more of the routine things throughout the course of the game. Not play outside of himself. Not lose the game for the team. You don't want to say you lost the game because of the quarterback. It's like having a Jimmy G on your team. Jimmy G a lot of times isn't the reason that you win a game, but a lot of times he isn't the reason that you lose. You know what I'm saying? You win because you had a good running game, your defense came through, and your quarterback was serviceable. That's what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to need until they can find their quarterback of the future, because everybody will agree Trubisky ain't it.
Mitch ain't it. He just ain't.
Anthony says Pittsburgh needs to switch quarterbacks.
Amen.
Anthony says Houston hit every note.
Amen, Anthony.
And he said he's okay quarterback. He's an okay quarterback. He just second guess his throws. But you can't second guess. It's like
Amen to that too. So a lot of people want to dog Matt Canada for his offensive schemes. I don't think it's Canada though. We got George Pickens, 2nd round wide receiver, explosive wide receiver.
Right. Yep.
He hadn't even had the ball much. As I'm going back and reviewing the games, the routes are there. He's down the field. It's not like we're like taking a bunch of short routes with these wide receivers. Trubisky's not even like, he doesn't, I mean, he's like check down king. He doesn't even try to throw it down. And a lot of times Pickens is singled up one-on-one with the corner. He's going to win a lot of those matchups, but he can't win them if you can't throw him the ball. So I don't know.
Well, that was the issue with Chase Claypool last year with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. Chase was like jump ball king with Ben Roethlisberger.
You know what? I thought about it after I brought up Jimmy G. That Paul was going to jump in on that one. Because that's their Jesus right now. Jimmy G is heads and shoulders above Mitch. Jimmy G loses a close game when he gets pressured. Mitch never gets you into a close game.
Mitch will never win you a close game. I give you that. And hell yeah, Jimmy G is heads and shoulders
Oh
above Mitch.
God, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, because Jimmy G can at least, he's daring enough to throw down the field. He might not make it, but at least he's going to try. Right now, I believe the fans of Pittsburgh are in Mitch's head.
Yeah.
He's just showing me that he's a backup in this league more than a starter. And I think we need to go ahead and make a move. And I think we will make a move, probably not after this Cleveland game, but definitely after the bye week.
I agree because then it will look again. People, you gotta understand, y'all. People try to save face. Now we all can see this, but they want it to seem like they took as much data and information as they could before they make a hasty decision. So even while they may have said, you know what, we probably need to make a change, it would be easier to say, well, we gave them all the way through the bye week to really be able to show us something. And we kind of feel like at this point, we're going to have to go in a different direction. Now, I knew they wasn't going to make anything this week because you got a Thursday game, and that's too quick of a turnaround. Not many practices before you have to go play them doo-doos. So there was no way in the world they were going to make a change this week, just mostly because you have a Thursday night game and not a Sunday game. Would they have been more inclined to do it if it was a Sunday game? Probably. But to your point, it won't be this week. But the good thing is after the Thursday game, then you have 10 days to then be able to evaluate your quarterback. So if you're not going to wait till the bye, making that if Mitch plays badly on Thursday, it happens on Friday. If he plays decent enough to beat the Browns, that's my prediction. If he plays like he did against the Patriots, they're gonna change him. They're gonna have to, because there's too much. Because you know what else is on the line? Mike Tomlin's winning record season streak, where he's never had a losing record.
He did get the victory in Cincinnati, but it was not anything of any kind of flashiness. He was 21 out of 38.
But see, the problem is now this. Sometimes that early season win looked like a good win until everybody else started beating up on the same person you beat up on.
Yeah, and we'll get to Cincinnati in a minute. It's like, what the hell is going on there?
Yeah.
But I don't know. We got a rough schedule coming up October.
God. Paul, look, I saw your post earlier about this, and I'm sorry. Aaron Judge, hands down, MVP. Stop it. He says,
what are we talking about?
All Gap Fest. I got to tune in as much as I can for now. I got to go. Otani for MVP. Niners versus the Neils in the Super Bowl. Rock on, fellas. The Otani, he's talking about
no. All rise, fella. All rise, fella.
Come on now.
All rise. All rise all day long.
Look, you may be correct in some ways, but this man has hit 60 home runs as of right now. Hell, by the time we get off the plane, he may hit another one because they won't stop throwing to him. My God. Walk his ass. Why you keep throwing to him? I don't know. I don't get it. But I'm glad to see it. Man, I'll actually be in New York on Sunday for a couple of days, so I'm thinking about catching the game because they play those.
Go witness some history.
They play, you know what? I gotta go now that I think about that because they play the Red Sox on Sunday. They're in the series.
He could break the record against a rival. You better go. You better go.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I'm getting on StubHub as soon as I get off the show. Then
I kept Paul, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, thanks for dropping in, Paul. We appreciate it. We'll talk about your Niners because your Niners surely knew that they were going to have to roll back on the porn star Jimmy, and they're definitely going to end up having to do that. But to put a button on your Steelers, yeah, I agree with you. I think that Trubisky is just not confident, and maybe some of that is just simply because he knows that one errant throw or one bad game could put him back, could bring up the kid. The kid is on his heels. And he knows that he already knows that he's the outsider. The fans want the hometown guy.
Yep.
The guy that's been in that stadium all that time and everything else. He would be the great story, the guy that, gets drafted by the town that he played in and all that kind of stuff that goes along with that. It's always a good story until you mess up some of the pages in the book that's being written. So
Yeah, he actually outplayed Mitch in the preseason. So, I mean, it's eventually going to be his job. I don't think anybody could argue that one.
yeah, they're just prolonging the obvious. And I know what they're also trying to do. They want to make sure that when they make this move, Rand, that they don't have to have any buyer's remorse from doing it, because one thing that's going to rattle a kid's confidence is you make him the starter and then you yank him.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying we're going to ride through him through all of the tough and rough patches, kind of like what the 49ers, who will go to, decided to do with one Trey Lance. Now, Trey Lance, unfortunately, we hope he has a speedy recovery, but it looks like he's out for the season with a broken ankle. So he
Broken
went down.
fibula too.
Yeah, he went down in that game, even though the 49ers won 27-7. It was really off of the arm of one Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, I won't say arm, but it was off of Jimmy Garoppolo. He was 13-21, 154 yards, one touchdown, no picks.
Yeah.
Not
Before
really
we
that.
move on to San Francisco, I just want to say real quickly, I think that Pittsburgh is going to wait also until that offensive line is solidified before they put the rookie behind that line. So that might take a few weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think about that. That's a good point, because if you're going to put him out there, you want to make sure that you're giving him everything you can to be successful. And if the line is shaky.
Right. And you don't have a Trey Lance situation.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You want to know that ties right into it, because this kind of really does show you why having a good backup quarterback is so important. And I guess after this, we'll talk about the Cowgirls and how Cooper Rush kind of helped them out with that for the second year in a row. But having a decent backup quarterback, because right now, when I look back at my Panthers, who's the backup?
An XFL quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, so you're always that one, and everybody agrees that your quarterback is your most important position. But I would say that backup is right there with them, because that backup has to be able to step in sometimes very cold, didn't take any reps with the first team, come out there and now perform with the first team. That's why, and I'll go more into the Cowboys in a second. That's why you see Cooper Rush hooking up with Noah, what's his name?
Brown,
more than he's hooking up with CeeDee Lamb and some of the other guys, because he and Noah passed each other when he ran second team offense. There you go. Special teams guy was on second team offense. So he has more of a chemistry with him. Now, he got CD the ball too, but I'll get back to them in a second. But the Seahawks, y'all had Denver may have been your Super Bowl. It don't really look that good for you. It's definitely going to be a rebuilding year, Rand. I don't know what to say about Seattle. Seattle just looked like straight up garbage. I was a little surprised that Debo didn't go off as much. I mean, he had 53 rushing yards, 44 receiving yards. I figured he would have gotten more involved in the offense, but it wasn't so much Debo. It was just a lot of different rushers. They had 6 different rushers. They had 8 different receivers. So they just spread it around to a lot of people. It wasn't just a Debo dominated game.
Yeah, I mean, Seahawks, I kind of saw this one coming. They got up really, really, really high so they could pull off that upset last week. And a lot of times when that happens, there's a letdown the very next week.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Even Geno kind of came. I mean, Geno was still efficient. He was 24 for 30, but it was 197 yards. So that tells you that his passes weren't that long. He didn't have any touchdowns, and he threw a pick. So even Geno kind of came back down to reality. He wasn't throwing strikes in the end zone like he was doing against Denver. Geno went back to being Geno. And sometimes that's the thing too, Rand, where you can get a quarterback to have, again, this is my Whitney Houston comparison, may be able to do certain songs, but there's some of those that are so extraordinary, only the originator can do them. He got up for a game. He got himself up for the game after hearing all preseason, what, y'all ain't going to go get nobody? Y'all going to roll with Geno? We know he's a little bit better than Drew Lock, but you're going to really roll with Geno? You can't be serious. And they kept thinking that Pete Carroll was bluffing. And then he really rolled with him, and Geno wanted to prove everybody wrong. Well, no, Geno, we figured out eventually you would go back to being Geno. And he may have another game where he played like he did against Denver. But the problem is the consistency part of it. Are you going to be able to get that game in and game out from him? And the answer is simply no. You can't.
Nope. He's back up in this league as well.
There's a reason you're back up. Who called the Seahawks during the offseason asking for your services? Nobody. There's a reason that you're back up. It doesn't mean that you can't ball in spots, but to be able to ball consistently would be why people would sit there and call for you. That was my whole reference to Darnold earlier and the Panthers picking up his 5th year so quick. It had to be for Darnold's confidence. Certainly they said, hey, what starting quarterback is going to make this money that we're going to pay him by picking up his 5th year? Probably none. Hell, we gave Teddy Bridgewater, I'm still salty about that, $20 million, which in this day and age right now would be a steal to get a starting quarterback for $20 million. Even though we did better and got Baker Mayfield for, 11 or 8, something like that. But again, you look at your product and you see why you got him for that. You get what you pay for. But anyway, so Seattle and San Francisco, 27-7. 49ers are going to have to now coalesce behind Jimmy. It looked like they were very, very happy. Jimmy was back in the fold and everything. And now Jimmy's actually going to have the ability to make more money because the revised contract he signed had some stipulations in there. If he started games and if he passed for this and if he did that he would get extra incentives to bump up his salary. So it may work out well for Jimmy to be able to then put together some more tape. If the 49ers go to the NFC championship game again this year, I don't know how you get rid of Jimmy.
And that's a good point. And it also kind of backs up what I'll get ready to talk about. It's like there's not many times in this league where you lose your starting quarterback and you're still okay. The Niners are still okay.
Yeah.
The guy that comes into the game now is the guy that took them to the NFC championship. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy. And I mean, the whole summer it was, they didn't even have him practicing with the team. He was throwing off on the sides and stuff like that because they figured after his surgery, a trade was going to be inevitable. And it was only when they figured out nobody's going to pay that $27 million salary. We're going to have to keep this guy, that it became obvious he was going to be with the team because they weren't just going to let him go and not get the full compensation. So it actually worked out for them. And it was kind of an insurance policy. We didn't really know how that would work in the locker room because from a team standpoint, it's an insurance policy and everybody always says the right things. Well, such and such is a pro and everything else. Yeah, but once you tell a guy that he's the starter and you just mortgage your whole future on him, you don't want the old guy to be in the locker room still, because as soon as you have a bad game or a bad quarter or a bad half, people going to start looking over to the old guy. I mean, like, is it time to bring Jimmy back in? So Jimmy got back in, not because of poor performance necessarily, but he got back in because of injury. So if Trey was able to come back this year, which he isn't, then that automatically would mean normally that you don't lose your position to injury. So you normally would be the guy to come back in. So whether it's this year or next year, if Jimmy takes them to the NFC championship game, or even worse in some ways, the Super Bowl, it's going to be a crazy summer in San Francisco.
Yes, they're going to have a mess on their hands. And they're not really going to know how to handle it.
Because you know what? I don't know how they handle that one.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell them.
It's kind of unprecedented, man. There's nothing out there that I could really compare it to.
The closest thing to me is Nick Foles coming in for Carson Wentz. When Wentz was having the MVP season until he got hurt. Foles comes in, takes him to the Super Bowl. They win the Super Bowl and everything like that. And then Carson Wentz gets his job back and looks like garbage. And then people are going, well, damn, wait a minute. Was Foles really that good? Did the team make Carson look like an MVP, or what happened? Yeah, and that just started the I will say it started the downward path of the Eagles, but they actually rebounded from that. And when I say rebounded from that, Ram, my God.
Speaking of those Philadelphia Eagles, man.
When you posted that, I'm sitting there going, okay, I grew up an Eagles fan because I hated the Cowboys and the Commanders. Because people down here would be one or the other. Wasn't a lot of Steelers fans that I knew back in the day. But so I became an Eagles fan. And I always root for the Eagles. And even when you did the post for the water cooler and you said Eagles, Vikings, I want to believe Jalen Hurts is going to do this again, but I need to see it. Yeah. I said, I know who Kirk Cousins is. I know what he is and what he isn't. But I also know that he has Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson on his team. And I've seen him do some crazy things having those tools around him. So I was like, I'm going to go with what I thought was a sure thing.
I will just say that sometimes the lights are too bright in prime time for certain players.
And he is, and that is the one deciding thing.
Yes.
He does not show up in prime time games.
He does not show up in prime time. Something happens. I mean, there were like 5 passes that he blatantly just threw up.
Nobody. They say Slay intercepted a pass. I saw him throw it to Slay.
Yeah. Like Slay was in the pattern, right?
Yeah, Slay went. And he went.
By the time Slay actually picked off his final one in the fourth quarter, I mean, he had 3 chances before that.
Right. There was even one before the one he picked off where he should have had that one.
Exactly, man.
I was like, oh my God. It was like Kirk just kept saying, okay, I missed you on that one. Let me try it again.
Yeah. I bet you can't catch this
trying to get him the ball. I was like, oh my God. 3 picks, Kirk Cousins, 221 yards, 27 for 46.
Woo.
Bro. Dalvin Cook, 6 touches, 17 yards rushing. 4 catches for 19 yards for Dalvin Cook. That's what you call neutralized. Adam Thielen, 4 for 52. Justin Jefferson, 6 for 48. That's what you call being neutralized. Slay shut down.
Ate his lunch.
However, tell me about this brother here. Jalen did do some hurts. He did some hurts on the Minnesota. 26 for 31.
I've ever seen him play.
26 for 30. He missed 5 passes. He passed for 333 yards.
Yeah.
Jeez. And then he ran for 57, but he ran for 2 touchdowns. Did you see the 1 touchdown where he said, you will not bring me down? I'm going to twist. I'm going to turn till I fall into this end zone.
I'm getting there.
And that was the quarterback.
I don't care if y'all dragging my knees, my ankles. I'm getting there.
Like, how many of y'all got out here? 11? It's going to take all of you. And I think it was about 4 of them. And he wasn't going down until he got across that line. I'm just like, wow. Bruh came out to play. Monday night was not a problem for Jalen Hurts at all.
Hopefully he doesn't pull a Geno Smith and get all high up for that game and then lay an egg this upcoming game.
Well, it wasn't a division game, so I would hope not. I hope when them Cowgirls come around, he ready for that one because that's going to be the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the game for them. You gotta win your division games because it's almost like a game and a half when you win them.
Yes, big
Because
time.
then it gives you the tiebreaker against them, especially if you're able to sweep them. Plus, every time you win a division game and you're looking at head to head to win the conference, to win the division, a lot of times it goes against head to head in your division. So you want to play good in your conference, which they're in the same conference, but you want to have just as much of that in for your division games. If they had that in for their division games, Rand, oh my gosh.
Yep.
And they've got a decent schedule. They play the Commanders next.
Yes, sir. That's an
In
important
Washington.
game. Important
That's a
game.
huge game.
Yeah.
That's a winnable game. Then they play the Jaguars. That's a winnable game. They play the Cardinals after that. That's a winnable game. Then they play the Cowboys and then the Eagles. That's their next 5 games.
They could really
and
take a
then you can add the
stronghold on
Texans
the
after
East,
that.
man.
They could literally. I stopped at the Cardinals, but then they got the Cowboys, Steelers, Texans, Commanders, Colts. That's their next 2, 4, 6, 7 games. I could see them being minimum 6-1 in them games.
They could have a really, really strong hold on this NFC East. I don't think Cooper is going to put together consecutive games like he did against
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to take them on those streak. I really don't see
Well,
that.
according to Jerry Jones, by the time that game come, Dak gonna be back.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I already know what Jerry doing. Jerry's a snake oil salesman. I know what he's doing. I get it, but you shouldn't do that. But anyway, yeah. So the Eagles are, in my mind, I think they're for real. I think, honestly, I'm gonna put the Eagles up at about 14 games, 13 to 14 wins this year.
I won't go that high, but I will go 12 with you. I'll go 12 with you.
I just don't see too many teams on their schedule. Now, there's always a trip up somewhere that you don't see, but they've already survived. And I don't want to say survived like, they should have beat the, excuse me. Let's see, they just played the Vikings. They barely beat the Lions last week, but they're already 2-0. I don't see too many teams on their schedule in front of them. They end the season against the Giants, the Saints before that. Saints ain't looking that hot. The Christmas game is with the Cowboys. They play the Bears. They play the Giants again. They play the Titans. Titans don't look like they're scaring nobody this year. They play the Packers. The Packers, they may. That's gonna be a close game. Looks like a Monday night game. 8:20, or it's a Thursday night, one of them. And then they've got the Colts. Colts ain't scaring nobody. They got Washington. They got the Texans.
Yep. Just the thing about just schedule checking, though, it's the NFL. They got to line up and play. Who would have ever thought that Chicago would have went into San Francisco and won that game? Nobody. Who would have ever thought that the freaking Jaguars would have shut out the Colts?
Shut them out.
Shut them out.
Shut them out.
I think they got a hold of their playbook. They got to have.
And now listen.
That's 2 in a row.
I had to sit there and look at my brother after telling me on one of our shows that Matt Ryan was garbage. And I was like, listen, you got me. I thought he would elevate them just a little bit, and that did not happen. Not that it can't happen, but it damn sure didn't happen that particular game. So I had to look at him, and he just looked at me like, Matt Ryan's garbage. And I'm like, okay, you got me. I just expected more out of Matt. Let's talk about them Cowboys because, Jerry Jones they barely beat the Bengals. But again, Micah Parsons. If he wasn't sacking the quarterback, he had Rand, I heard this stat, and this was crazy. There are 47 decent defensive players that have lined up in edge coverage more than Micah Parsons. All right. because he splits time as a linebacker and a defensive end. He's number 48 in rushing the quarterback. There's 47 guys that have rushed the quarterback already in 2 games more than he has. He leads the league in sacks and pressures.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, man. That's pretty daggone amazing.
What?
I don't know if he'd had that if my boy TJ Watt was not injured. But I'll still give it that.
It would have been competitive. Look, if I would have said that, most people would say, "Oh, well, you talking about Aaron Donald, aren't you?" No, because Aaron Donald doesn't rush on the outside.
Right.
But that's crazy.
Yeah.
He is unblockable. And there were sometimes then they didn't even block him. They let him come on.
That's crazy too. That's crazy too. The thing with this is like
because they basically relented to say he gonna do what he gonna do. If we put 2 guys on him, 3 guys on him, it's not gonna matter. Either it's gonna stop him or it's gonna leave somebody else open. Pick your poison. And they relented, and there were plenty of times when Micah went unabated to the quarterback, and I'm going, is that a good idea?
It's not, and I don't think it was purposeful.
Oh, God.
The Cincinnati Bengals, it is crazy to me, and that's how, a few minutes ago I was talking about what is going on with Cincinnati. They went out this offseason, and they revamped their entire offensive line, thinking that was the only thing that was missing to get them back to the Super Bowl. Because remember last year, yeah, I thought so too, because they gave up so many sacks last year, and despite of those sacks, they still got to the big game. So now they're thinking, hey, just let's fix our only deficiency, and we'll be back in the hunt. Not so far. Not so far. They've given up 13 sacks in 2 games, man. 13 in 2 games.
He can't keep taking that.
He cannot. No, he'll be injured again.
There's no way. There's no way. I'm watching that game going, oh my gosh, if they hit him again, it is crazy. But give the Cowboys credit. Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought that they had a snowball's chance of winning that game for so many reasons. Joe Burrow versus Cooper Rush. Now, I know that you got Micah Parsons, the great neutralizer, but Micah Parsons is changing outcomes of games like Lawrence Taylor. It's just, or Derek Thomas. It's just crazy watching this kid get off the ball, using different moves and getting around. He wasn't even drafted as a defensive end.
Yep, and that's why I was also saying that some defensive ends or outside linebackers in this particular situation and in Watt's situation, like I was talking about earlier, are just as impactful as a team's quarterback. Because they changed the game. They changed the game. When is the last time you saw Burrow pass for less than 200 yards in a full game?
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, this, and you know what? It hurts me to give Dallas any credit, but Cooper, he played a very clean game. He did what was asked of him. They came up with a game plan that fit in his comfort zone. He was 19 of 31, 235, 1 touchdown, no picks. He managed the game. Cooper Rush did not lose the game for you.
No.
He left it in the hands of the running game and the defense. So, and that's what you want. That's what you want a Trubisky to do, to be a Cooper Rush. Now, again, it goes back to what I said before. Like with Geno, he's a good enough backup to get you that one game. Can he get you a string of games? It's the consistency part of it. So we will see. Time will tell on that. But if you listen to Jerry Jones, after this next game, Dak will be back.
Whatever, man.
Now, let's just be for real. Dak ain't going to be back. Listen, anybody that has ever just sat there and threw a football in the backyard, anybody ran this, grabbed a football, what do you put some of the most pressure on? Your thumb. That's how you got to grip the ball.
Yes, exactly.
And what's the last finger that touches the ball when it leaves your hand? It's your thumb. Your thumb pushes it, basically.
This man will not be back.
Man, there
On
ain't no
top
way
of
in
the
the
things that
world.
you're talking, just taking the snap from center is going to be painful.
It's gonna hurt because and they're gonna have to pad it. And let's be honest, players try to get any kind of advantage that they can. You mean to tell me that when them defensive players do come through, they not gonna sit there and find out where Dak's hand is?
Absolutely.
I
He better,
would.
he better not go. He better not stick that hand down there trying to retrieve a fumble.
Will I take a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty to run him into the ground and throw my weight on him? Yeah. Yeah. If that's going to put him out the next 3 quarters, of course I am. Now, they ain't going to say that, but of course they're going to do it. Somebody's going to do it and say, hey, I'll take the 15 yards now because that'll give us a chance the rest of the game. But everybody's going to be going for him. He's going to be exposed. He can't protect his hand. It's not like it's his non-throwing hand. This is his hand where he has to not only throw the ball, but he has to pinpoint that ball. He has to throw it into tight places. He can't let the ball sail on him. He starts throwing wild balls. Balls get batted up in the air. They turn into interceptions.
He has to take this. He has to take the snap from center.
Correct.
Painful. Even when he goes back to pass and there's a defender coming at him again, you think he's going to follow through all the way so he can hurt that hand again?
Or you think he's going to stand in the pocket and take a hit just to give his receiver that extra second to get open?
I like how Dr. Jones says he's going to be back in a certain amount of time.
You just paid this man $40-something million and he made $75 million last year. Dak Prescott is a businessman now. You turned him into a businessman. He gonna make some business decisions. Mm-hmm. If he come out there and he can't grip that ball like he need to, he is not going to play.
No.
He's not going to play. Now, here's the good thing, Rand. I think there's a handful of people that don't want Dak to play. One of them being Mike McCarthy.
Why's that?
Because if Dak doesn't play,
gives him a perfect excuse.
It gives him an excuse to suck.
Yes.
Because if Dak is in the game and they continue to look bad, then it's going to be back to Mike McCarthy on the hot seat. Mike McCarthy don't know how to coach in pressure situations. Mike McCarthy can't game manage, clock management. All this other stuff comes back to rear its ugly head.
Yep. You're right. Right now, Mike McCarthy's on the sideline saying, "Oh,
you gotta watch Mike.
Ain't my fault.
You gotta watch Mike. He might trip Dak. He might trip him. Oops, I'm sorry. You all right?
Oh, it ain't my fault.
He might send somebody into the locker room and do a Tanya Hardin on him and just beat him.
Don't you bring Dak back out here?
Because right now, he can hide under the guys. Well, what do you want me to do? I'm playing with my number 2 quarterback and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he can get away with that. But if he's got Dak out there, and I think Jerry's putting too much pressure on Dak. But I think his biggest thing that he's doing, Rand, is he didn't want the fans to give up.
That's
so
it.
He's trying to give them some hope.
That's it completely. The fans. And we've seen this from owners before. They're doing crazy junk like that, saying, the star players will be back in a certain time frame.
Yeah.
They don't know. They're not doctors.
He's a snake oil salesman, basically. Yeah. He's basically reading Twitter and all these shows where Marcus Spears is saying that the season is over, and the only one out there is Playmaker talking about them Cowboys could still win, and maybe Keyshawn had said something about all I need them is to win one of the games, and they still in it and stuff like that. But a lot of these guys, as soon as that happened, said their season was over. So I think Jerry saw the writing and just said, you know what, I got to put some hope out there. They're already hearing about 7 to 8 weeks, which sounds a lot better. Everybody saw what happened when Russell Wilson had the pressure to try to come back for Seattle last year after his hand injury, and he admitted he came back too quick. Not that he had to admit that. We could see that for sure. And I think if you bring Dak back, having him out there but be injured is not the best version of Dak. Cooper still gives you a better chance to win a game if Dak is injured. If Dak is just simply hurt, then it's just a matter of his pain tolerance. How much pain can he deal with? But if he's still injured, you don't play him like that in your most important, your highest paid position. Why would you put your highest paid person out there and he's still injured?
Yeah, it's almost just comical when some of these owners come out and say things like this. Like, you remember when Irsay, the Colts owners, was talking about, oh, Andrew is going to be back for us and blah, blah, blah. He's coming off that, I think it was a shoulder surgery or something back then. We'll have him back at the beginning of the season.
Shoulder or neck or something like that. He had a whole bunch of injuries.
He actually ended up freaking retiring, man. And they knew that. They knew that prior
but they wanted to sell them season tickets.
But they wanted to sell them season tickets. Owners are slime balls too.
Yep. And they weren't going to buy them if they knew that Jacoby Brissett
exactly
was going to be a starting quarterback.
Right. Hell no.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Who?
And these Cowboy fans are not going to attend the games if they know Dak ain't coming back this season.
Exactly. Because Jerry is a branding snake oil salesman. Yes, he wants his Cowboys to win, but what he wants more than anything is you to spend money on anything that has that star on it. Yep. He wants all of the revenue, the parking, the concessions. He wants it all, the apparel, all of that. A lot of things that have absolutely nothing to do with the game, but the product of the game actually brings them all of the TV revenues, the Monday night football games, the Thursday night football games, all of those things. Jerry is a marketing guy that is looking for all of those things. If you told the fans that half of your season is going to be played by Cooper Rush,
deuces.
Somebody said it's like a Homer backing back into them bushes. That's a specific example. Like, we'll see you. Oh,
Jerry may not be the smartest personnel dude when it comes to talent on the field, but he is not a dummy when it comes to money.
That is it. He definitely knows how to make his money. So we'll give him all of that. Rand, I saw a game after the Cleveland Browns sat there and beat up on our Panthers.
What the hell? There were quite a few what the hell games out there, and the Browns Jets was one of them. Raiders and the Cardinals was another one.
Oh my God! Oh yeah, we definitely got to get up to that one. What's up, fellas? The champ is here.
Jonathan, yes, what's up, JG in the house?
What's happening?
JG is also a member of the Facebook Kings Fantasy Football League.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the water cooler.
I would like to say that I got hosed because I still had a good chance until Dobbins got ruled out right before the game, and that's what really killed me at the end. But I kept going back and forth, and I could have had a chance, but it's all good. It's one game. I'll be all right. But let's talk about these Jets real quick. Jets came back on the Browns. After the Browns were up 17-14 through three quarters, they actually let the New York Football Jets score 17 points in the fourth quarter and beat them 31-30. Joseph Flacco threw the ball 44 times after throwing it 49 times the week before, I believe. 26 of 44, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. One Joe Flacco.
Where is this coming from?
Against the same defense that had Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney treating Baker Mayfield like a piñata.
Now, these same Browns in that game, I saw something on social media stating that at some point in that game, they had a 99.9% chance to win it because they were up so large in the fourth quarter. And that 0.01% actually happened.
Right. Crazy. That never happens.
Never happened.
I mean, that's like saying it's a 99% chance it's going to rain and then don't a drop fall. Like, Yeah, they can be wrong at 50 and 60%. But when they say it's a 99% chance it's going to rain, and you say, no, you know what? I'm not taking my umbrella. We're going to grill and everything. We're going to cook out and everything. Everybody looking at you like, man, you out your damn mind.
Seriously, it's like a DNA test being wrong. It's just never
Right.
happens.
Right.
It never happens.
He got you dead to right. And Maury come out talking about, yep, you sure? You're not the father. Oh man, yeah, yeah. Maybe I'm just sitting there wishing that would have been me. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I love my kids, the ones I claim. But yeah, I mean, so 31 to 30. I mean, and you know what? But this is another one of those games, though, where, to your point, Rand, where they played up for Baker because it was his former team. And then was there going to be a letdown? There were a lot of those games out there. Jacoby wasn't bad. He was 22 of 27, 229 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. It was really Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Chubb did have 87 yards. Kareem Hunt had 58. So they had a decent rushing game. And Amari Cooper actually got off, had 9 receptions for 101 yards, which I know that was good for them to see. It was just that their defense just could not come up with the stops when they needed it to. And they let the lowly – you remember in preseason, though, I told you that the Jets and the Lions were 2 teams that I was looking at where they got better in the offseason, but because of the division that they were in, it was going to be hard to see them be that much better in their division.
How about them Detroit Lions? We both called that upset over the Commanders last week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They threw with it, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Sometimes it really does take a different coach to be in a quarterback's ear to really get the most out of that quarterback. So whatever it is that Dan Campbell is saying to Jared Goff, he is buying into it. Jared Goff, 20 of 34. Okay. 256. Okay. 4 touchdowns, no picks.
No picks. None.
Jared Goff, congratulations. Great game. Again, not the most gaudy stats, but I've seen Dak throw for 400 yards and the Cowboys lose the game.
Yeah.
So it's not always about gaudy stats. I remember Michael Jordan scoring 50-something points in the game and the Bulls would lose. So it's not always the gaudy stats. It's, are you making those 3 to 4 plays in the course of the game to keep the ball moving? Is it a 3rd and long and you convert?
You know what I mean? Just him, though, B. That entire team has been energized. You could just see it.
Yeah.
You can see it. That defense is hitting. Hutchinson looks like a young TJ Watt. That dude ain't no damn joke.
Nope. You know what? It's good when you hit on your 1st round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit. He's going to be anchoring that defense for a minute. But they definitely played. Now, I'm not going to lie, Carson Wentz, I mean, he wasn't terrible. He was 30 of 46, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. So he was getting the ball out there too.
Yeah.
That's why I think the NFC East, it has some promise. They're probably a year or 2 away from not being called the least. Because I see some good stuff going on with the Giants. I see some definitely good stuff going on with the Commanders, and I see some really good stuff going on with the Eagles. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the things where I said the same thing with the Bills. If you wait around too long, your window of opportunity is going to close. New England is down. They have been running that division forever. The AFC East was locked down, New England Patriots, and then everybody else. Now it's the Buffalo Bills. But if the Buffalo Bills don't win it, their window is going to start to close because you got an up-and-coming, I hate to say you got an up-and-coming Jets team, but you got an up-and-coming Dolphins team that's ready.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
For the throne. That is coming. And I'm saying the same thing with the Cowboys. They just sat there and basically had it baked in. We can go 7-9. We win our division. We go into the playoffs. Bro, you can't do that no more. If you don't win your division in Dallas, you are not going to the playoffs. You will not be a wild card if you do not win your division in the NFC East. Jonathan says, yeah, that was crazy. The Eagles and the Commanders might have that on lock if they keep playing like that. Dolphins are ready. Agree with all of that.
I agree with all of that.
Absolutely. They are moving up. They are getting better. They are retooling. Cowboys, you cannot not make offseason moves and let the other three teams get better and just automatically think that when you step out on the field with them, that you're just inherently going to win. Exactly. I'm telling you, it is not going to happen like that.
Nope.
Micah Parsons or no Micah Parsons. It's just not going to, Diggs or no Diggs. It is not going to happen like that. So mess around, you're going to catch them Commanders and them Giants on the wrong day. They're going to make you look real bad. You know, that little reel that Stephen A had together with the Cowboys sitting there crying and the music playing. It's going to be a lot more of that.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it.
I can't either. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I love what Stephen A says. He says, what's happened is going to happen. You already know it's coming.
Accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, you already know. It ain't if, it's just when. So, yeah, we had that. And you brought up the Raiders game. But hold on. Let me dance to the Dolphins and the Ravens.
Yes, please.
We this game here. Bro, now listen. I just figured with Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry, and Michael Thomas that there would be no way that Jameis Winston would not be able to be my better quarterback on my fantasy team. And I did sit Tua because I said, I don't know how Tua going to play against that Ravens defense.
Understandable.
I gave Winston a better chance of throwing against Tampa than Tua throwing against Baltimore. That was it. Even though I've been saying for the longest that all Tua and Jalen Hurts were the two quarterbacks where everybody said, you know what, I like their teams, but I'm not really sure what the quarterback is going to give me.
Mm-hmm. And it's all on the quarterback for both of them. They are both stepped up.
Rand, I heard that Tua threw for 6 touchdowns.
He has tied Dan Marino for the team lead.
Hey, Rand.
Category.
Hey, Rand, I got another thing that I heard too. Do you know who's leading the league in passing yards this year already?
That would also be Tua. That is crazy, man. 400 and some yards against the Ravens defense. You know, when they got the cheetah, I knew it was a good move, but this thing is looking like a fantastic move. It is opening up the entire offense.
Bro, my brother had Waddle on his fantasy team, and he had 40-something points off of Waddle.
Yeah. They're looking like an unstoppable, uncoverable duo. I mean,
and now somebody made the thing on in the water cooler talking about you just chuck it up and he gonna come down. It ain't that easy. That's not it. You can't just chuck it up in the air and think Tyreek gonna come down with it, because you still got to put it in a place where he can get it and the defense can't. Yeah. So you can't do that. But yes, you have somebody capable that can stretch the field like that, and then you got Waddle playing opposite of him. That's just going to open up your offense even more. But Tua, for the longest, has been one of the better deep throwing quarterbacks. He just ain't had nobody to throw it deep to.
Damn if he ain't now. In the fourth quarter, the cheetah caught 2 touchdowns for over 60 yards. 2 of them. One of them, he burned double coverage.
He almost had 200 yards. He had only 11 receptions for 190 and 2 touchdowns. 17.3 per. Waddle had 11, so he was even. He had 171 for 2 touchdowns.
Good God, man. That's scary, bro. That's scary.
Bro, man. That is crazy.
And that just sets up a hell of a game this coming Sunday. Miami versus Buffalo. Man, that is must-see television. That is must-see television.
You leaning one way or another on that one?
I don't know. I'm glad it's not primetime.
Yes, sir. You're right. You're right. Wouldn't that be one to have to sit there and count against the mountain climb?
Good
my God. Yeah, I'm glad too. Is it in Buffalo?
Let's see. I believe it is. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up. It's in Miami, actually. It's a 1:00 game in Miami. Who do you give that advantage to? That's crazy. I don't know.
I'm gonna give it to Miami.
I want to lean
Miami by 4 points.
1 o'clock in Miami. I kind of want to go with you too, man. I kind of want to go with you too. If it was in Buffalo, it'd be a different story. But that Miami Sunshine,
they don't have
that's
to
going to be a
travel
hell
at
of a
all.
game.
They're used to everything. There's nothing being disrupted with them. One's 2-1. I'm sorry, they're both 2-0. So somebody's going to get their first loss of the season. I know Von Miller is going to want to try to come down there and wreak some havoc, but I think that Miami is going to be able to hold up enough to when you got Tyreek Hill, though, your defense has to decide, are we going to play too high safety? Or are we going to sit there and play man? You cannot play man.
You can't play man against them.
You can't play man against them. You got Waddle on one side, you got Tyreek on the other. If you play man, you're dead. So you gotta have safety help. So you're not blitzing from the safety in the corner position. So you got, and I think they run a 3-4. So you're trying to get home with 3. Nah, bro.
That's gonna be hell of a game, man. That's gonna be hell of a game.
Not against that. Jonathan says y'all 100% right about Jerry Jones. That's hurting them too. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give it up to the Dolphins. I almost kind of wish that was a primetime game. That'll help me with some of the losses that I had if the Dolphins ended up hitting. But yeah, that was a crazy game. And then you also brought up the Raiders and the Cardinals. Little Kyler Murray did it again.
God, I hate watching that dude.
But you know what? Little Kyler Murray bailed out Kingsbury from making a boneheaded call to take a delay of game at the end of that game. When they were going for 2. He took a delay of game and it backed them up. When they were at the 2-yard line, it backed them up. Mm-hmm. And somehow Murray still found AJ, I might drop the ball, Green, in the back of the end zone. And he had just enough hand under that ball where it wasn't bobbled to the point that they were wanting to not call it a catch. They just call catches.
I'll give Murray credit. That was a hell of a throw.
Even the one he had the presence of mind to take off and run it into the end zone at the end of the game. I was just like, holy crap.
It's like the Raiders just quitting that game, man. They were up 23-7 with 9 minutes left. What the hell?
I mean, you have Jonathan Jacobs, who's supposed to be your power back. All you have to do is just eat the clock. The clock. Let the clock run. So I don't understand that. That was just a crazy game. I mean, Kyler was by far the better runner out there. Even though he didn't have the most running yards, he was an opportunistic runner. He did a lot of it from the pocket. He was 31 of 49 for 277. But I believe it was the first half of the game, he only had like 80-something yards. So he got almost 200 yards in the second half of that game.
Yeah, most of the damage came with 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
The Raiders were up 23-7 with 9 minutes left.
He was just going to get it. He started finding Hollywood Brown, Zach Ertz. Those boys started doing their thing. AJ Green started getting some passes. It was just crazy. I just could not see that one coming. I was like, oh, that was another one of them games, 99%. Okay, the Raiders going to win that game.
Yep. And that's just another reason there. You know, a lot of people with the moves that the Raiders made, going to get old boy from Green Bay. Yep. A lot of people wanted to put them up there with the likes of the Chargers and Kansas City in the West. No, I think you and I lined it up correctly when we lined it up. The Raiders are not ready. They're not ready.
No, and I think that they got to sit down with Derek and Devontae and say, look, I know y'all are boys. I know y'all have a chemistry, but we can't force feed the ball to Devontae all the time. There's going to be plays where you need a play and he's your best guy out there and you're going to have to find him the ball or give him the best chance to come down with it. I get that. That can't be routine all through the game.
Yeah.
Because then the other guys don't have any kind of rhythm with you at all. And other teams can start to lock in on, oh, he's just going to try to force feed this ball to Devontae. So, yeah. Oh, I just saw this thing on ESPN Flash across Baker talking about just going through growing pains with the Panthers.
Excuses are over, man. They need to get a W.
I wish I hadn't looked over at my phone. I saw Baker mention about growing pains after going 0-2. Like, no. You're a first round pick. There ain't no growing pains.
Yep.
Sorry. You don't get that excuses for now. If you was a 4th round pick and you were playing like this, well, first you'd be a bust. I mean, you wouldn't be a bust, but they would just have given up on you. But because you're a 1st round pick, just like Carson Wentz, nobody else would be on their 3rd team in 3 years had they not been a 1st round pick, and then still be a starting quarterback. They just would have said, "Sorry, kid, you're going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick. You're going to be Case Keenum. You're going to be Drew Lock. That's your path." But because he's a 1st round pick, don't nobody want to say that they were totally wrong, and they keep trying to make a starter out of him, even if he's not. But anyway, I digress. What I did see though is the Broncos are still struggling. Russell Wilson does not look like Russ of old, and it looks like the Texans, like I said in the preseason, really do believe in Davis Mills. He didn't have the best game, but he was still decent. He was 19 of 38. That's only 50%. That's not good. 177 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. The Denver defense really did do a number on him. But in the same respect, the Broncos only put up 16 points on him, and 10 of those came in the 4th quarter. So before that, Houston was actually leading through 3 quarters, 9-6. It was just field goal city.
Yeah, it just goes back to what I just talked about. I think we lined up the West correctly. A lot of people wanted to say Denver might be the ones winning the AFC West, and Kansas City and the Chargers would take a step back. I don't think so.
I don't either.
2 weeks into the season, it's not looking like that at all.
Nope. It still looks like it's going to come down to Kansas City and the Chargers.
Uh-huh.
It really is. It really, really is. Speaking of those Chargers, I mean, heartbreaking loss there for them. Was it the Chargers? Yeah, the Chargers Chiefs game, the Thursday night game last week, where Justin Herbert got hurt at the end of that game. And I could tell by the way he got hit, it was a rib. I was hoping it was just bruised, but there was some ligament tear. I haven't heard how they're going to approach that, if they're going to just put a flap jacket on him and then just basically see his pain tolerance. How they're going to do that. But normally you're not out for that. Normally they just put it like some kind of flap jacket on you so you can take hits and stuff like that. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 334 yards. That was just one of them games where Everett was trying to get out of the game because he was gassed, and they didn't want to slow the momentum of the game down, because if they did, then it would have allowed the Chiefs to make substitutions. If you let Everett go out to do a substitution, then you have to give the opposing defense a chance to make substitutions too. So they wanted to keep them off guard, but they had just run all the way down that field. Everett was gassed. Then you're going to throw right back to him, and he just wasn't ready. Kid gets the ball and runs for a 99-yard interception, pick 6.
That one mistake.
One mistake. Kansas City never at any point in that game looked like they were in control of that game until that last play right there.
Yep.
And that's what did it.
Chalk it up as a losing lesson. I mean, just chalk it up as a lesson, I should say. Yeah. Sometimes when little brother's trying to beat big brother, he don't always do it on the 2nd and 3rd try, but eventually he's going to get big brother, man. And I think that's what's happening in the West right now.
Yep. So listen, I know I ran over a little bit. I didn't even see the time, to be honest with you. Any game of the week coming up for you?
Man, it's loaded. It's loaded. Not per se for like games that everybody might not be interested in, but for me, I think it's a great schedule. I got Lions and Vikings. I want to see if the Lions can continue this momentum. Saints Panthers, of course. I want the Saints to beat the hell out of the Panthers. Also, Bills Dolphins. That's another game that's going to be very interesting to me. Steelers Browns starting tomorrow. Another very interesting game. And then, of course, Eagles Commanders. Are the Eagles for real? Who's going to take control of this NFC East? It's a great schedule this week. I believe so.
Hey, Packers and Bucks. You got the two old quarterbacks going against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are coming in with depleted rosters.
Yeah.
Which quarterback is going to be able to lead a team of some wobbliness? The Bucks aren't going to have Mike Evans because he decided to get into a fight. I heard they they brought Cole Beasley in and put him on the practice squad, see if they can get him in game shape in time for this game.
Yep. And on top of that, the primetime games are like razor thin. These are going to be coin flip games, man. Great schedule this week. Great schedule this week.
Cowboys, Giants, Monday Night Football, 49ers and Broncos, Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a great, great week, y'all. Don't overreact. We're only 2 weeks in. I know you're looking out that window and you're ready to jump, but just give it one more week. I promise you, your fortunes might turn around. Join us again next week for another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with Randall Hargrove. We'll see y'all next week. Take care.